Listening? Damn. Yeah.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Damn Podcast. I'm your host, Angie Machado, and joined with me, as always, each week is BeaverBlitz beat writer Jake Hedberg. Jake, it has been a minute since we've done a podcast.
It definitely has been, 3 weeks now?
Yeah, I think so. We've done a couple Twitter spaces, which those are totally fun, but we had a lot of people asking for a podcast, so we decided to, and this is really where we kind of want to be, the space we want to be. So we're doing a pod. And I don't even know what we're going to talk about today, Jake. There's like nothing going on in Beaverland. It's been a little nuts. And in fact, right before we go live here, Washington Supreme Court went ahead and just said they did not want to look at the Pac-2 versus the traitorous 10. So that stay has been lifted. So that is good news right now for Oregon State and Washington State. As it gives them, again, governance over the best interests of the Pac-12 going forward. We're not going. That isn't even on our rundown today, but that is some big news. I doubt we've seen the end of all this, but it lets Oregon State at least and the Cougs move forward and do some things there. But we have a lot to talk about. A quick rundown of the show today. We're going to talk coaching hires with Coach Bray at the helm, who he's bringing on, who he is expected to bring on for those last few spots. We're going to talk transfer portal. It's kind of been the news that we've been talking about now for the past week or two. Transfer portal and the decommits. So who Oregon State has lost to the portal and which decommits or which prospects have decommitted. We're going to flip it then and look at the commits, the guys that are sticking with Oregon State as of right now, and then what transfer portal guys have joined Oregon State. We'll talk some also kind of about the visitors this weekend. This is the last big visit weekend prior to early signing period. We're going to talk needs. Jake and I are going to break down kind of where Oregon State needs to go from here. Signing day preview, and then a huge mailbag. So if you have questions and you're watching us live, make sure to pop comments into the comment section. We'll try to get to those throughout the episode. But it's been kind of crazy. And I apologize if you see a bunch of junk behind me. It's because I'm still a mom and I'm trying to get some Christmas stuff done and it hasn't really happened. So I have ordered some things online and it's behind me and I have not had a chance to wrap presents. I haven't had a chance to bake cookies, anything that my kids like. So it's been a little crazy. Jake, you just got home. First off, how was finals?
It was pretty stressful, but all in all, it wasn't too bad. I only had one test and then a few papers, but pretty successful term. Excited for a month off and just focus on the bowl game, signing day, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So first whole term as a BeaverBlitz. Well, you worked spring, but this was we just threw you right in the fire.
Yeah.
Coaching search, commits, decommits. So you're doing a great job, Jake. So thank you for that. Let's talk coaching hires because that's we haven't had a podcast, I guess, since our emergency pod when Coach Smith left, but we're not focusing on the coaches that left and don't want to be a part of Oregon State. We cover Oregon State. We're going to talk Oregon State. So Trent Bray was hired. You and I were at the press conference where he was introduced. He was hired very quickly, and then he's put together a staff very quickly. Let's just talk offense for a little bit. So there's several guys in right now. They're in Corvallis. They are on the recruiting trail. So we'll start with the offensive coordinator, Ryan Gunderson, former Oregon State quarterback. Kyle Devan is the offensive line coach, and again, a former Beaver. John Boyer was elevated from quarterback analyst. Was he?
Offensive quality control.
Okay, so he worked with quarterbacks under the last staff. He is now a full-time assistant working with tight ends. Kafense Hinson will remain on with wide receivers, and we are expecting Thomas Ford to come on as running back coach. He is currently running back coach and special teams coach at Idaho, which that one could be an exciting hire just because of some of the connections he has. Brother Tracy Ford with Ford Sports Performance. Thomas Ford, I believe, played at Linfield and has tons of ties in the Northwest. Give me your breakdown, Jake, of this offensive staff.
The first hire that kind of stands out is Thomas Ford. If it does happen at this point, we are expecting it. Thomas Ford's a great recruiter. I have multiple friends and old teammates that play up in Idaho, and and they just rave about him. He's a great coach. He's someone the players really relate to a lot, and I think he will be the best recruiter on the offensive side of the ball. I can't. I mean, just the connection with Tracy Ford at FSP, those guys are some studs. I mean, Oregon State in this class, they've got Durant, a team FSP guy. They're consistently turning out 3-star, 4-star, and even 5-star prospects. And to have that built-in connection is going to be huge recruiting-wise. And then flipping over to more of the coaching side, I'm really excited to see what Ryan Gunderson does, being able to be fully in charge of an offense. He has never called plays before, but that's going to change. I'm excited to see what he does with the quarterbacks, as he didn't necessarily have the full opportunity to do so at UCLA. Chip Kelly was still kind of running the show over there. And then Kyle DeVan, I love his hire. He seems really enthusiastic on social media. He's already been really recruiting well. I thought, he's got one commit already, multiple guys talking to that are heavily interested. And overall, I think this staff is shaping up very well.
Yeah, I think the overarching theme for this entire staff is that they're going to be grinders. I've heard, some concern that this staff isn't maybe as polished or has as much experience as some had hoped. What I see on the list of coaches is just a group that is going to grind. They know what it's like at Oregon State. They want to be at Oregon State, and tireless recruiters. Flipping over to the defensive side, defensive coordinator, we are expecting Keith Hayward to come back in that role. It has not been announced yet, but we are expecting that to be named probably around Christmas. He's right now with the Las Vegas Raiders. Just named, though, defensive line coach Eliza Tuiaki. He returns after a 1-year stint at Oregon State with Kalani Sitake, and then was at BYU. Again, tireless recruiter. So this is going to be interesting to see. Offensive line coach or outside linebacker coach has not been named, but we believe it's Brandon Huppert, who is currently working with the outside linebackers. Inside linebackers coach is AJ Cooper, who comes back to Oregon State after being a quality control coach, was at Sac State as a linebacker coach. And then coaching DBs is Anthony Perkins, who is retained. Again, a tireless group of recruiters. And I think when you look at this group, they're already hitting the trail hard. We've seen a lot of visitors coming in over the past, 7 to 10 days. Some of them have been more quiet visits that have been a little under the radar, but already seeing dividends with the number of commits from the portal from these guys. What are your hot takes from this defensive staff?
He's very recruiting heavy, and I think that's a good thing. Trent Bray is obviously a great defensive mind. I still think even though he's not defensive coordinator, the defense is going to be his. I might imagine he's going to be calling coverages, plays, all that. Keith Hayward is a hell of a coach, and he's a great recruiter as well. I feel like this hire's probably the biggest one that Trent made. Great hire. He's going to be able to recruit very well. And then Coach Cooper and is it Tuiaki? Tuiaki. That was another great hire, I think. Those two stand out as really energetic guys that are going to go out there and hit the recruiting trail hard. And I already think you're seeing it pay dividends. I mean, we've already got a defensive line commit, an inside linebacker commit that hasn't announced yet. The recruiting momentum of the staff has already established in a week or two is pretty impressive.
It is crazy. So if I know we can't let BeaverBlitz members or podcast listeners in on every little detail, but if you guys knew some of the juice that's going on in the Valley Center and some of the commitments that could be happening in the next couple days, it's pretty remarkable. So we have Rip City here that just said he's heard different things about Jake Cookus. Is he being retained or not? That is one we have not been able to confirm. Right now, I'm thinking probably not. He hasn't been named like the other retentions that they had the first group that included Hinson and Perkins. So I don't know. We have not heard that. If he is, I believe they're already at the 11 coaches. So he would probably be an off-field assistant or a quality control or some type of role outside of, yeah. So I don't know.
A defensive analyst or somewhere along those lines. That's kind of what I'm feeling. Just a gut.
Yeah, we have not heard anything on Jake Cookus. So he is though coaching for the bowl game. That's something else. That's not even on our rundown as the bowl game. Something else we could talk about. And somebody brought up, actually it was JRU won, and then my son just texted me, Damian Martinez can play in the bowl game. So I guess that before we talk about some of the decommitments, we've talked about coaches. The other big news this morning or today was Damian Martinez, DA, is not filing charges. So he is, I believe, on his way back to Corvallis from Texas to get ready to play in the bowl game. So that is good news for Damian and for the Beavers. Gosh, see, so much we could talk about. We could probably spend an entire hour talking about this court case, even though, it's not exactly, I'm not really a legal mind. We need, there's a couple guys that were on our Twitter space, actually, that are all over it. Okay, let's talk. This is going to all be kind of a primer for signing day. Signing day, Jake, what are your I'm feeling like this signing day is maybe going to be the early signing period on December 20th, maybe a little slow. There'll be some transfer portal guys, but what I feel like it's going to lead up to a busier February signing period. What is your gut feeling there?
My gut feeling's more of the same. I do feel like this next signing day on Wednesday, I do feel like it'll be quieter. I think from the prep side, you'll see maybe at most 7 to 8 kids sign. I've confirmed with one of the recruits, Dexter Foster. He is 100% signing. Outside of that, things are still up in the air. I know Terrell Kim was visited last night. He's down in Phoenix, his Arizona State right now as well. So that one could go either way. Exodus Ayers has been quiet. Haven't really heard a whole lot from him. Same with Malachi Durant. Sikorsky, same thing. These kids are still trying to figure out what's the best move for them, and I wouldn't necessarily be shocked to see some of the kids that are committed sign eventually, but in February rather than on Wednesday. But I do feel like there should be a decent amount of transfer portal. Don't be shocked if there's a few JUCO guys as well. Mm-hmm. And then Oregon State offered a running back this morning, and I wouldn't be shocked to see him sign on Wednesday as well.
Yeah, these young men, like for example, Dexter Foster out of Central Catholic Portland, he was offered by Trent Bray. That's who his relationship is with. He's solid. He's excited to be a Beav. Some of these guys, though, the entire staff that recruited them has moved on. So it's a chance they need to kind of get to know the staff, kind of get a feeling kind of for the offense or the defense. Defense will probably be, basically the same, but the offensive guys will want to kind of get a better feel for that. And just get to know the coaches a little bit. So I think, it's actually been several years since we've had a really exciting February signing day. So it could be kind of fun. I do think we have a couple surprises lined up for Wednesday, especially with a JUCO player or two, and then transfer portal guys. I think we could have a few more announcements there, especially after this weekend. Let's before we talk more about kind of needs and where we're going there, let's just kind of give everyone an update of who's out right now. The list of decommits since the coaching change includes, it's a list. So Rustin Young and Kai Burnett, Peyton Stewart, Wyatt Hook, Andrew Brinson, Makai Frazier, Brandon Tullis, Rakeem Johnson. Portal departures then also include DJ Uyangalele, Aiden Childs, Jermod McCoy, Easton Mascarenas, Akili Arnold, Jack Velling, and Attica Sappington. It's a big chunk. What do you feel that most of those decommits are heading to Michigan State?
Tolis, Frazier, and Hook already committed. So there's 3. I would imagine Rakeem Johnson's probably going to fall out of Michigan State. Peyton Stewart, another one that decommitted. Kind of a BYU Michigan State toss up at the moment, I think. And then who else is there? Kike. I don't really know if Kike wants to go that far.
It's a long way from Hawaii.
West Coast. Yeah. Same with Rustin. I know Arizona State are pushing hard for him, as is Auburn. Michigan State's a factor, and Oregon State is also still in the mix for Rustin as well. They're really trying hard. Coach Devan is working his butt off, trying to get Rustin to stay. Who else was there? Rustin. Oh, and then Brinson, I would imagine, is going to commit to Michigan State as well.
Yeah. So, and then portal, Jermod McCoy has blown up, which
4-star on 247's transfer portal rating.
Yeah, totally blown up. Has offers from basically everyone. It's nuts.
Really good.
So it'll be interesting, But like I said, we don't really want to dwell on the guys that are not wanting to be a part of things. I'm just going to look through. We have a lot of comments here, so I want to just kind of look here. I don't want to miss anything that we talked about. Kim, have you heard anything? Jared Hooper, have you heard anything about Jared Christian Lichtenhan? I was half expecting him to commit after his visit. I've heard good things. I've heard it went really well. So kind of been waiting to see mode on that offensive lineman from Colorado. Best Beaver day in a while. Yes, it is, Beaver Believer. It's a great day. It's always a good day to be a Beaver, though, right? Thomas Newell. Rumor that Justin Woods, former Arizona State coach, is being considered for OSU staff. Thoughts? Well, I believe the 10 on-field assistants have already been figured out. So that would be a non-coaching role, maybe an analyst or some type of internal assistant. Have not heard that yet, but right now we've Jake and I have turned our attention all toward recruiting. So if we hear anything about him, we'll post it in the lodge, but I have not heard any more about any support staff or analysts. Okay, Jake. Okay, here's a question about wanting to know, Jake, who's your top 3 in order for transfer QBs? But let's just talk about additions here. So it's been a busy couple days for you, Jake. You're not only trying to get through, you got through finals, but there were 5 commitments that you had to get ready. So let's just run down the list. Nick Norris is an edge rusher from Northern Colorado. Anthony Hankerson, running back from Colorado. Van Wells, center from Colorado. Mason White, cornerback from TCU. And then Jacoby Thomas, safety from Middle Tennessee State. That one was a big one. I know there had been some talk in the lodge. Jake called it a huge, and then it took a day. It took 24 hours for him to announce. Give us your thoughts on those additions.
The first one that comes to mind is Jacoby Thomas. Oregon State in the secondary, they lose both their starting safeties with Catan graduating, Achille Arnold transferring to most likely SC. But
there's a couple. Texas is in the mix there too, and Arizona's in the mix. So it's going to be a wild ride for those two.
Jacoby Thomas is legit. He has scholarship offers from Texas A&M, Auburn, Ole Miss, hometown Tennessee, and he chose Oregon State, which I think that speaks to the job that Trent Bray is doing, really selling this place to kids. Oregon State doesn't have a conference home. That's true. But Trent Bray is still finding a way to get the job done. Jacoby Thomas will be a starter, I would imagine, at one of the safety spots. He had 4 interceptions in 2022. Hard hitter. He kind of reminds me of a mixture of Catan physically with the ball skills of like a Jaden Grant. Just a nose for the football, block kicks as well. We're really just a great all-around player. The biggest one on the offensive side, I think, is Van Wells. Wells, you may look at the Colorado offensive line from last year and assume he might not be very good just due to the lack of success that Colorado's offensive line had. But Van Wells was not the problem. He was by far the highest graded pass blocker on that team. He I think he had a PFF grade of around like 81, which would have been second or third best out of all the Oregon State offensive linemen. I think that's higher than Jake Levengood's, actually. So Oregon State at the center spot, they're going to be good next year. This was a great addition. Familiarity, Kyle DeVan coached him at Colorado in 2022. He committed to Kyle DeVan. And then Hankerson as well, the running back out of Florida, the Colorado transfer. I feel like that was a great get. Kind of reminds me of Jam Griffin. He's a smaller back. The change of pace guy is 5'9", 195. While Damon, Isaiah Newell, both in the 220s and 230s. Wouldn't be shocked to see Hankerson utilized as a third down back in 2024. Overall, just really excited about all 5 of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, and they address needs, and I don't think the Bees are done. Mason White's another interesting one because last year Oregon State was after him out of the JUCO ranks. It was down to TCU and Oregon State. He chose TCU, and now looks like he may have decided he made a mistake and is going to Oregon State. So the other, I think the defensive backfield could, I mean, first of all, I'm going to need your help, Jake, because we could seriously have 3 Thomases in the defensive backfield.
Skyler Noble. I mean, at the moment, I think all 3 of those guys are probably going to start too.
Skyler, it could be Noble, Skyler, and Jacoby.
Nickel.
So there's guys there that can come in and make instant impacts. Hang on, I'm looking here through some notes too that I didn't want to. So there's been visitors all week into the weekend. We have a question here from Sean Buchanan. How did the visit go with Jordan Anderson? I really didn't hear much about it. He's there now. So we don't follow up with these guys until they're done on visits. So he is in Corvallis as we speak. But I think the big topic we need to talk about, and this is kind of where everybody is going, is quarterback. Oregon State, with the departure of DJ and Aiden, needs a quarterback. So there's been, I would say the top ones right now on Oregon State's board include Cam Fancher. He is a transfer from Marshall. Giovanni McCoy out of Idaho, and Malik Murphy out of Texas. So, Jake, I know you have strong feelings. Let's hear your thoughts here.
I have a favorite here. I would love to see Malik as our starting quarterback next year. This kid is legit. He's 6'5", 240. He has a cannon for an arm. He physically, I think, is similar to DJU but stronger. And I think he may have a stronger arm too.
Stronger arm than DJU?
Oh, he is a cannon. He is a cannon. He kind of, my comparison for him is like a Joe Milton from Tennessee, where the decision making can be kind of irritating at times. He had 3 interceptions and 3 touchdowns this year, but the physical skills and like the natural tool set that he possesses is really not comparable to anyone Oregon State's seen. He is a legit talent, and getting him on campus, I think, was a huge step. 24/7 has him as their number 4 overall ranked quarterback in the transfer portal, above DJ. And to get him on campus for visits, huge. And hopefully he does have a good relationship with Coach Gundy. Hopefully Oregon State can figure out a way to swing him into the black and orange next year.
Yeah, I know he's visiting Duke today. Tomorrow. He's coming here. Malik Murphy will be in Corvallis on Sunday. So it's huge. I know he has a good relationship with Manny Diaz, and he is now at Duke. Yeah. So that's I think Duke fans are counting that's the ticket. However, he's a West Coast guy, so and has a great relationship with Gundy.
Yeah. If he wants to come back to the West Coast, I feel like this is Oregon State's guy.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think seeing, who's out there, Ty Thompson, there's been, a lot. I know there's been a lot of buzz about Ty Thompson from fans. I don't believe he is Oregon State's top prospect at the moment. So not to say that
those 3 guys.
Yeah, the three guys who we just talked about are kind of the 3 that we're hearing. But there is so much going on, you guys. I think the Valley Center is buzzing. There's, it changes by the hour. And then, the amount of negative recruiting that goes on, Oregon State's always dealt with some negative recruiting, but The amount of things that are being said about Oregon State and the Pac-2 right now is unreal. So these guys have to kind of tune out some noise and listen to the coaches. Coaches know this. I mean, they have to address the fact that Oregon State's not right now in a major conference. But I think just the win today in court, that maybe some progress can be made there will be big. But quarterback is obviously the biggest a position of need, I think, right now. And then there will be, a prep as well. They'll have to go after a prep quarterback as well. I see a question here, Jim Rector. You might have missed. We talked about running back coach earlier in the show. We expect Thomas Ford, running back coach at Idaho, to be named running back coach at Oregon State. So that's what we're going with, and that's what we have heard. So, and then Jim Rector, no Ty Thompson. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm saying he's not like the top target right now. So that's, I know, like I said, Beaver fans are kind of like all over this Ty Thompson thing. And not, like I said, not to say he won't, but there's some other guys in the hopper that they're looking at. Okay. So right now, so we've already talked about Dexter Foster being 100%. Have you heard from any of the other guys yet as we prepare for signing day?
I'm pretty confident in the Prime Hill kid as well signing.
Okay. Yeah.
Proof. Those two in-state kids. I know Terrell Kim is signing on Wednesday.
Yeah, because he's enrolling in January.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a matter of whether it's to Oregon State, Arizona State, and then Fresno State's pushing for Terrell as well. Haven't heard anything from Exodus or Malachi. Sikorsky has been really quiet. Not anticipating him signing. One thing I have noticed is that Cal Devan has been offering a lot of high school kids, so that kind of leads me to think that Sikorsky will not end up at Oregon State. What am I missing? Sikorsky,
Connington.
I haven't really heard anything from Martin.
Yeah. So he's a kicker, punter. And Malachi Durant.
Quiet.
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet. So like I said, and Thomas Newell said high school recruiting is dead. With the transfer portal and high school recruit, it is. I mean, I feel bad for a lot of these high school kids who are maybe getting overlooked because the portal. But again, that's another day, another discussion. It was not on our. We're going to take a quick break in a minute, but it wasn't on our rundown, Jake. But I do want to touch on the bowl game briefly before we jump to the mailbag. But we're going to take a quick break for the podcast side, and then we'll be back. We won't disappear live, but we're just going to take a quick break to plug in some ads for 24/7, and then we'll be back. But if you're not a member of BeaverBlitz, now is the time to join. We are offering 50% off a year membership, or you can just jump on for a month. Join us for a month and see everything that's going on in the lodge. All the coaching news has been updated, and I am very proud to say we've been 100% on what we've said, and it's place to be if you guys want some inside information there. We'll be back in just a second, though, with the rest of the damn podcast. Okay, we're back for the second half of the damn podcast, special December edition. Okay, we're a little special. We talked a ton about portal. We do, I guess, want to talk a little bit about needs since we've been talking about. So right now, Oregon State has the 2 DB portal commits, the edge rusher, running back, and the center. Offensively, Jake, what do you want to see Oregon State do to maybe fill some gaps here, aside from quarterback, in the short term?
The first one that comes to mind, but outside of that, I would like to see them add another proven receiver and another tight end as well. Receiver-wise, really, Silas Bolden, Jimmy Ballison are the only 2 proven guys. Jeremiah Noga and Trent Walker have played. But outside of that, it's a whole lot of freshmen and redshirt freshmen, guys like Zach Card, David Wells, Taz Reddix, Hatton, that are going to have to grow up and play a lot of football next year. So I am hopeful that the coaching staff, kind of pulls a more experienced option that can step up and be a number 2 or 3 behind Silas and Jimmy next year. And then tight end wise, Oregon State's tight ends returning had a combined 3 catches. Jermaine Terry had 2. Bryce Caulfield had 1. Jack Belling's loss was huge. That's an All-American candidate at the tight end spot that's now gone. I would like to see them go after another pass catcher. Jermaine Terry and Gabe Milborn are great blockers. But outside of that, the 2 pass catching tight ends are Cooper Jensen and Bryce Caulfield. Caulfield's a walk-on I think he's from Lake Ridge. Jensen's a redshirt freshman next year. They need another tight end. I don't believe they've offered any yet, but a tight end is crucial to add.
I have heard they like the room, though. They actually really like the tight end room. Defensively, where do you want to see additions made there?
The outside linebacker room right now. Chatfield's gone. John Carton's gone. Corey Stover walked at senior day. He does it over the year, but with him walking, assuming he's gone. So at the moment, Oregon State really only has 2 guys with game experience, and that's Nico Taylor and Olo Matoshu. Both those guys played primarily on special teams too. So getting a proven outside edge rusher, I think they're playing with Nick Norris right now as someone played defensive line.
Yeah.
So a pass rusher. I know they offered Anthony Jones, former Oregon Duck who went to Indiana, who's in the portal again. So to get him, he could potentially be a guy that sees some action. And then another inside backer, just for more of the depth purposes. I think Isaiah Chisholm and Jordan are 2 really good freshmen. But beyond that, kind of uncertainty. Micaiah Tong, don't know if we're going to see him next year, just due to the fact how devastating that the knee injury was. Tafanga has been banged up. John Miller's been banged up. I wouldn't be shocked to see them hit the junior college ranks for an inside backer.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I mean, this is, when guys leave programs, it also means opportunity for the guys that stick around. So this is really a shot for Melvin Jordan and Isaiah Chisholm to step up and maybe grab that spot, because Calvin Hart is done with eligibility, and then with Easton Mascarenas in the portal. Defensive backs, I think, feel pretty good. There's a chance that Jaden Robinson applies for a medical hardship, which would be huge if he's back. Okay.
Secondary is shaping up. I see this as the strength of next year's defense. The cornerbacks with Jordan, Tyrese Ivey, Mason White. They're still pursuing a few other transfer portal guys. And then the safeties, I think, are going to be really good with the Thomases and then the other Thomas at nickelback. I'm really liking the way the secondary is starting to shape up.
I agree. I think we see a few more portal guys too. So it's going to be a new look secondary, but maybe an improved secondary, which, Drake Vickers, Jared Hooper just reminded Drake Vickers is another one.
ACL should be cleared by the summer, I think.
Okay, so let's talk a little Notre Dame, because we haven't talked bowl game, and I know it stinks that Oregon State got passed over for the Holiday Bowl, but I do think the matchup with Notre Dame in the Sun Bowl might be a better matchup than Louisville in the Holiday Bowl. Jake, you are going.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a better matchup than the Ducks playing
Liberty
in the Fiesta Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah, completely. This one has some swagger to it. The Sun Bowl is sold out, we've been told. It's Notre Dame, Oregon State. Oregon State has beaten Notre Dame the past 2 times they've played in bowl games. I know you've already done an early look Q&A with our Notre Dame sister site at 24/7. What are your just kind of early gut feelings about Notre Dame?
This is a team that, like Oregon State, they're missing a lot. Sam Hartman's not playing. Audric Estime is not playing. Their 2 offensive tackles aren't playing. A lot of their defense isn't playing. So again, kind of like Oregon State, you're going to see a lot of teams or a lot of younger guys that really haven't played a whole lot of football. I think the strength for Notre Dame is going to be their defense. They have a really good safety, Xavier Watts. He won the Bronco Nagurski Award for the top defensive player in the country. He's a ball hawk, had 7 picks, few fumble recoveries. He's a stud. I think Oregon State's going to come out and run the ball. I thought they were going to do that already, but getting Dame back just kind of adds on to that. I think he's going to have a huge day. I have been told that Ben Gobranson has been killing it for what it's worth.
I've heard too that. I've heard the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, a player told me, like, quote, not going to lie, Ben Gobranson's been on fire. He's been looking better than he ever has. So who knows? Maybe we come out and see Ben Gobranson throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then maybe all the quarterback portal news dies down. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. It'll be a good time for younger guys to get involved. I'm excited to see like a Jimmy Valson, Zach Card, I think. Defensively, Melvin Jordan, Isaiah Chisholm. It's going to be exciting to see these younger guys get a ton of action and really show Beaver Nation what they can do and kind of get them excited for 2024.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, like you said, especially with Notre Dame now. At first, you started hearing Oregon State, all the guys that were not playing and opting out. It was kind of like, oh, but now Notre Dame's in the same exact boat as Oregon State. So, yeah, young guys get a chance to do their thing. I have heard the same as you that Ben Gobranson has been looking really good. And like you said, there's Jimmy Valson shows some flashes. That was the guy Eric, my husband, kept. At Arizona, he made that big catch, and he came in clutch a couple times. So this is their opportunity, and this as a football player that sometimes gets buried on depth charts. Some of these guys, this is their shot. This is their kind of their shot to make an impact with the new staff and show what they can do.
Look for Jimmy Valson to have a huge day. The coaching staff is going to try and feed him the ball. Kafense loves him. Whereas previous coaches didn't necessarily feel the same way, but he's one of Coach Fence's guys, and I think he's gonna have a huge game.
Okay, it's going to be fun. You are going to be down there. You and your dad taking a trip to El Paso. You'll have stuff for us as you can, but it's also a quick trip for you, and you'll be with your dad. So, but BeaverBlitz will be covering as much as we can from the bowl game and on the bowl game. Okay. Are you ready for some damn questions? We've got a lot of them. A lot. First one, Beeville Beeve in the lodge asks, have you heard anything about strength and conditioning coach for Coach Bray's staff? Have not, but Marco Candido is still on staff. It looks like he was the number 2. I wouldn't be shocked to see him stick around. But we have not heard anything official on that. Go Beeves to Chummer. Are you in tune with the happenings for the most part or feeling left out? No. BeaverBlitz is dialed in, guys. So feeling more in tune with what's going on. Okay, here's a couple here. Wait. I just scrolled too far. Hang on. Sly Clydesdale. He's got a couple here. How much do you take anonymous sources like MH3 seriously? How often does what they say reflect what your sources say or what makes sense to you? You follow a lot of Twitter guys. What are your thoughts on that?
I tend not to believe people on Twitter unless it's like a Pete Thamel or like a National 247 guy or like a credited reporter. My kind of thing is like if you won't put your face on a account or like put your name on the line, then it's probably not accurate. I mean,
there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that just want to be anonymous and say they know stuff, but I don't put a lot into it. So like Jake says, if you're not going to put your name out there and your face, we have our own sources that we run things through, but it's now, do I follow MH4? Yes. Immaculate? Yes. Follow those guys because it's been kind of interesting, but they've been wrong too. So I think a lot of people, not saying these guys, but there's a lot of people out there that just like to throw things out and see what sticks. Okay, favorite and least favorite holiday tradition, Jake. Wait, we don't have Jake. There he is.
Okay. Favorite holiday traditions, probably watching NBA all day on Christmas.
Okay, that might be my least favorite.
I love it. Least favorite holiday tradition? I don't know that I have one. I feel like all of our traditions are pretty fun, so I don't really have a least favorite.
My favorite, I think, traditions are the ones that lead up to Christmas. Like I usually love like doing Christmas cookies with the boys and their friends. And now that they're older, they don't really want to decorate cookies, but yet they want me to make cookies. I'm like, no, if we're not going to help, I'm not going to all the work. So I like all that. You probably can't see it, but we had the elf on the shelf when the boys were little, and Fizz was his name. And Fizz would always, when he showed up, would bring powdered sugar donuts and hot cocoa and leave out. So my oldest comes home from college on Sunday. So Monday morning, I actually have the powdered sugar donuts, the little Hostess donuts that will sit out on the counter. So trying to keep it kind of fun for him. So I love all that. I love Elf and, all the Christmas movies. And so I like all the lead up to Christmas. Least favorite. I'm not an NBA person. So that's probably my least favorite, but I'm also one. So my Christmas stuff went up super early, like second week in November, guys, because in this world with football, I had to do it. And thank God I did, because if I would have waited till Thanksgiving, oh dude, it wouldn't have been up. So I usually put it up like if we have an away game or a bye, like the first couple weeks of November. But then I am that person, like day after Christmas, it's all coming down. Everything's cleaned up. So that's kind of how we operate here. Let's see. A lot of Mountain West. We'll talk schedule too. That's another one. Reeser Beeb 23. Okay, first he wants to say thank you. Yeah, and he makes a good point. We post what we can in the lodge, but we also can't burn sources. And when our sources ask us to keep people quiet or keep things on the down low for the time being, we try to abide by that. So sometimes we can't spill everything we know without burning some bridges. So we just don't. Okay, he asked about holiday tradition too. Okay, so far with what we know of the proposed football staff, what would you think the biggest strength of the staff will be?
Staff's really going to be able to recruit, and I think they've shown that already. I mean, it's not even fully put together, and two of the biggest recruiters, in my mind, the two biggest, still haven't been officially hired. So I'm excited to see what they'll be able to do, particularly in the class of 2025.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Gundy will, take his lumps as an offensive coordinator. There's going to be games that maybe we are like, what was he doing there? But I can tell you, I think that these guys will be tireless recruiters, and we'll get things done.
Is oldest?
Pardon?
Or is Tuiaki the oldest coach, or is Keith Hayward the oldest?
I have no idea.
It might be Hance, but they're like all relatively young.
Yeah, they actually are. I mean,
Hayward's young. Keith Hayward's 45, 46.
Is he that old? I guess so. He's Tuiaki. I don't know how. Let's see if we can. Tuiaki's 45. So it will be quite a world if your oldest coach is Keith Hayward.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dad of Two Beefs. We have not touched on this, but Jake, give me your thoughts on the schedule that was released yesterday.
Yeah, I think it's solid. Definitely could have been better. It was a little disappointing to see another game against a Mountain West opponent rather than another Power 4 team. But overall, I thought Scott Barnes did a good job scheduling. a schedule that has a chance to get Oregon State into the college football playoff. If you look at that schedule, I think every game's winnable. I think Oregon's going to be the one tough test. Washington State, it's going to be a question mark. Don't really know who they'll have next year. But I think Oregon State really matches up well. I'm excited to play UNLV. I think that'll be a fun game. At San Diego State, I'm going to travel to that one with a few of my friends. So pretty excited about that. Overall, I think it was a solid schedule.
Yeah, I mean, in the short time that there was, and obviously, yes, they in the perfect world they wanted 5 Power 5, 6 G5, and then the 1 FCS in Idaho State. But then there was obviously the hangup, which is why it was taking so long. And so at the end of the day, they had to just get it done. It's not, I don't think. I made this comment the other day. People were asking, and it's, you can't worry about the things you can't control. So you can either bemoan it and be angry that it's not hard enough, or you say, okay, well, there's 7 super fun Saturdays in fall, and we're going to watch the Beavs. So, you can't worry about the stuff you can't control. And they did their best. So that's, what you got to, you've been dealt a hand, and so you got to play it. So, what is your Christmas wish, Jake, for OSU?
My Christmas wish for OSU.
For OSU.
Baseball national championship. That's my.
That could happen.
I think it's. I'm not going to say it's going to happen.
Omaha could happen.
I think Omaha is going to happen. This team is legit. I'm friends with a couple of players, and they think this is the best team they've had since 2018. They think it's better than the Jerpy, Melton, Boyd, Beckler team in 2021. This lineup 1 through 9 is stacked. The pitching staff's deep. I think this is going to be the best team that Coach Canham has had, and I think they'll start out as a top 5 team in the country. And don't be shocked if they do well that second weekend in Texas if they're ranked first in the country.
I'm trying to think what my Christmas wish for OSU will be. My Christmas wish is just that Oregon State is able to find some success amidst the chaos over the next year or two, and find a conference home, whether that is rebuilding the pack and seeing that through, or but just having some peace and some success. That's my hope for them. Jake, he has a lot of good ones here. How is Jake still standing after finals and all the great Beaver reporting that he's been doing? Like, seriously, Jake has been. So most of the time, my college writers don't really want to deal with any recruiting stuff. Jake does. Jake loves recruiting. So we're letting him do that. But then with all the coaching stuff, he's like, I got the hot boards. I mean, coming back from the Civil War, he's like helping me do research on our coaching hot board. And like,
yeah, that was a rough car ride back.
Machine. But you helped so much because we got that thing up, because you took half, I took half, got the research done. Amazing, Jake. So is it just youthful energy, or are you just going to sleep now for 2 weeks?
Yeah, I'm going to crash out here. And I'm going to rest from December 20th after signing day until Christmas, and then I'm going to lock in.
Okay. And then January looks to be busy too with recruiting. So, yeah. And then spring camp. It's just never ending, Jake. It's never ending.
Baseball starting up here.
I know.
2 months from today, actually, I think.
Jake might be rethinking this whole BeaverBlitz game. We're trying to take care of him, guys. He does like Buffalo Wild Wings. I'll just say that. He does like Buffalo Wild Wings. Okay, let's move on. Okay, Beavs Fanatic 123. Of the transfer portal commit so far, who's going to make the biggest impact for the Beavs next season?
Jacoby Thomas. Yeah. Jacoby Thomas, his addition cannot be overstated. He is a great player. He played against Alabama this year. He played against Missouri this year, 2 top 10 teams, and he was the best player on the field for Middle Tennessee, and he really held his own against really great players. I'm excited to see what Trent Bray and Keith Hayward can get out of him.
Yeah, he's my pick too. I think I think Van Wells could be a big addition as well.
Yeah.
with all the decommits from our coaching change, how many prep kids should we expect to join the Beavs on signing day? Kind of talked about this already. I think this early signing period on December 20th might be a little slow as far as prep signees. I expect the February, and that's February
2nd, 3rd.
2nd. Is it
3rd, 4th? It's somewhere in that range.
No, it's the 7th, I think.
Oh,
7th.
7th.
Yes. February 7th is signing day. That's the national signing day. So I expect that one to be a little busier. We will see some signings on this coming Wednesday, but it may not be quite as crazy as we've expected in years past.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This Wednesday, I'm expecting 2 to 9 kids.
Okay.
9 high school kids to sign, and then one JUCO at the very minimum.
Okay.
Potentially a few more.
There you go. 2 to 9 preps and one or more JUCO. There you go. And honestly, so the guys, the transfer portal guys don't sign anything. So this is where Oregon State, this is where it gets a little interesting, is Oregon State needs to just hang on to these guys because they don't sign anything. You're basically they commit and you're hoping they show up January 3rd or 2nd or whenever they're reporting. So
January
8th. Okay. So there's time. So there's no binding agreements like the prep kids. So they're hopefully not. Hopefully this is not a roller coaster and these guys are solid. But just so you know, when you have portal kids, it's like, yeah, we're coming, coach, and you just hope they show up. So that's where we're at. Doc Man Green, yes, 1 or more JUCO potential. So we know of 1. Might be a couple more. Let's see. Noah 72 asked, what are your impressions on the QB search? Has there been legitimate interest in the portal?
Yeah. I mean, I think the fact that one of the top 5 quarterbacks available in the portal is taking an official visit kind of says that, the talented kids are still looking at Oregon State. And I mean, Trent Bray said during his press conference that they're going to be aggressive. And I think through the 2 weeks he's been able to recruit, he's been very aggressive. He's hauling in kids with SEC offer lists. He's going after a top 5 quarterback. So there's definitely players interested, and the coaching staff isn't shying away of going after the bigger names.
Yeah. Black Bandit says, with what you know about John Boyer, was that a win for us, or did you get the feeling he was never leaving?
I mean, I think it was a win. I mean, the players love him. At least the quarterbacks did.
Yeah.
Excited to see what he can do as a tight end coach, as a recruiter, because as an analyst, you don't really get to recruit a whole lot. But now he should be able to step in, and I think it'll be interesting to see how he does in that role. But he is a great coach. I thought he did a good job with Oregon State's quarterbacks over the last 6 years.
Yeah, the quarterbacks love him. So, and he was not just planning to stay. I know Michigan State wanted him to go with them. So, and that's why he wasn't named in that initial group with Kafense and Perkins. But at the end of the day, he did stay at Oregon State. So let's see. Do you think Matt Chiafoni asked, he said, I'm not saying this is due to my past history of asking about JUCOs, because he usually asks about JUCO D linemen, but do you think Oregon State will hit the JUCOs heavy, or has the portal impacted JUCO recruiting?
I think more of the JUCO action we'll see will be the February signing day. That's typically how it goes, is the coaches get their high school guys. But I know Oregon State does have one JUCO player for sure signing on Wednesday. They are going after a few more guys. I would expect to see the JUCO action pick up more in January.
Yeah, because some of those JUCO guys, you have to wait until their grades come out in December. So
Tyrese Ivey was a wait.
Yeah.
Mason White was also a wait last year. Drake Vickers was a wait. It's a ton of guys. I think Ryan Cooper was a winter guy. I would expect them to go after, a JUCO wideout, JUCO linebacker or two, JUCO defensive lineman potentially. So I'd keep an eye on that over the next month and a half.
Yeah, it's going to be, we're not going to be done in February or December like we've been in the past. So it's going to be Beaver Jim. What should we realistically expect from Wednesday signing day, early signing day?
I think it'll be relatively quiet. As I said, 2 to 10 high school kids, and then at least one JUCO guy, maybe a few more.
Oregon State may use that as a chance to announce the transfers too. They may use that as a and then Mr. G. Gray, now that the schedule is released, can you divulge any rumors of teams you heard that were in play and why they did not end up on the final schedule? Go ahead.
Utah was one. I remember that.
Yeah, so is Virginia. I have not heard why they did not end up. Honestly, I think when you sit and look back, if you are Virginia or Utah or any of these schools, unless it's like a body bag game, you don't really want to play Oregon State because it doesn't do anything for you. It can just hurt you. So I think there's some maybe not scared, but if you're scheduling non-conference games, you're not scheduling someone that could potentially very real give you a loss. And so I think there's some question about that. But that's just kind of my own thinking there. Okay, Jake, anything else? It has been whirlwind, crazy, but stick with Jake and me and the rest of the BeaverBlitz. We will be back. I don't know if we'll do another pod before Christmas. So if not, have a very great holiday. And like I said, everything will be in the lodge at BeaverBlitz. And make sure you're following at Hedberg Jake and at Angie Machado 1 for all the latest. And thank you guys all for an amazing year. 2023 has been an amazing year for BeaverBlitz and for the damn podcast. And we look forward to much more fun and excitement in 2024. 2023 was a great year. I think I messed that up, but 2023 was a great year. We're looking for even more fun in 2024. So thank you for tuning in to the damn podcast, and look forward to, like I said, even more and better content in 2024.